Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with another review of The Chi Season 4, Episode 3, The Native Son. Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and an entertaining twist. If you are back for a second or third time, or you are a member of the opinionated family, child, welcome back. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it, honey, because these people were doing some stuff all up and through, and the way this episode ended, I was like, okay, girl. Anyway, when the episode first opens up, we see Kevin and Nina sitting at the table, and he's eating breakfast, right? So then Keisha comes in to grab like some junk food. Nina jumps up and she's like, you need to be eating a real meal. And then she hands her an apple and an orange. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, it's not a real meal either, honey. Well, the bacon, the eggs, the toast, something. See, me, I'm greedy, honey. I got to have a full-on meal. I can't have no breakfast that consists of cereal. I can't have breakfast that consists of a kind bar. Honey, I'm going to need a meal. I don't know if that's the southern in me or what, but I'm going to need to sit down. Not your continental breakfast from the hotel that we just stayed at, child. So Nina tells Kevin, you need to stay the course because messing up at a certain point can change the course of your life. Okay, I do agree with that because these are some pivotal years, but we need to be preparing them from the jump. I mean, you can't start parenting him now, girl, honey. He already going too far left. Let's see if we can steer him back the other direction. So he's looking at it all right. Okay. Of course, he talking back per usual. And then he tells her, all I can do is just be the best me. And I agree with that. As long as you're trying your best, that's all you can really do. But he has a lot of internal battles going on. And if she talked to her son instead of talking at him and try to see what's really going on, then maybe she can figure some things out. And honey, not the shy, but shy. Turn on some lights. Honey, I'm so confused. I don't know what scenes I'm looking at. Everything's so dark. It's dark in the library. It's dark at the house. It's dark at the place. The business opened up. Emmett's restaurant opening. Ain't no lights on in there. I don't know if the budget is low or what is happening, but y'all please turn on some lights. My eyes bad. So he's telling her, all I can be is the best me. Sorry I had to go on a little rant, child. I can't see nothing. In the next scene, we see Jake and Shad, who was played by Jason Weaver, right? And they're playing the game. So Trig comes in and he's like, why you still at home? Why you not at school? He's like, I got suspended. He said, why did you get suspended? Shad gonna say, for letting this little white girl suck his peen on Instagram. He was like, nah, that ain't even why. So then he said, yeah, I heard she had a fatty like a black girl. First of all, ill, okay? And Trig was like, she's 15 years old. He's like, look, I'm just the messenger. That's disgusting and disturbing. Okay? Ugh. Jake gets up because, it's Trig's house and he wants him to go. He gets up because he's getting ready to go to school. And so Trig said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to school. He said, you really must think I'm dumb. I think that you're going to get suspended and then go to school? He said, yeah, it's in school suspension. That's how they do it at the white schools. Okay. I remember when I was in school, I never got in school suspension, honey, because I ain't played them games, honey. Front and center with my hand raised at every class, okay? But I do remember them having ISS, which is in school suspension. And I remember, honey, some of my people was in there every week. So Trig notices that Jake is stomping to his room, right? So he tells him, stop stomping in my house. Jake turns around. I don't know where the shift happened. Because last week he was saying, I love you, bro. He was saying, I love you too. But this week he got a little attitude. So he was stomping and Trig was like, stop stomping in my house. And he said, this ain't your house. This Reg's house. Child, well, that pissed him off, right? So he walks up to him. He's like, say it again. I'm like, oh, child, please don't y'all start all that fighting, honey. I'm really not in the mood. It's already dark and dreary, and y'all know the storylines are heavy. Child, lighten up. So Shad is getting mad because all of a sudden there's all these rules, right? But hey, it's his house, so it's his rules. So he said, you coming through here acting like you Uncle Phil? He was like, somebody got to do it. And you know what I appreciated? I appreciate the fact that Trig is not letting Jake just run wild. There's still structure. You still got to abide by some rules. You still got to do things accordingly. So I do like the fact that he is doing it. And Shad, honey, be happy you got a place to stay. Because I'm trying to figure out why you not up looking for a job or doing something productive other than playing the game. Honey, this is no longer a trap house. They're trying to make this house a home. So on the other scene, Tiff shows back up at home, right? Baby, Emmitt sitting up at the window all night long. Child, I remember I did that one time, honey. My husband exited stage left overnight. I was calling, texting, calling to no response. When he walked in, I was sitting up at the window just looking, waiting for him to get home. disgusted and going off. Do you hear me? When he walked through that door, it was on, child. Baby. Needless to say, the neighbors called 911. Honey, I'm going to get into it if I get into it, okay? So Tiff shows back up at home, and Emmitt's sitting up all night waiting by the window. So she walks in. He's like, where you been? She said, I was at one of my customers' house, right? Before she said that, when he said, what the F you been? She said, you better take that bass out of your voice when you talking to me. I said, oh, baby, Tiff ain't playing with you. So she said, I was at a customer house. He said, is it a male customer? And she said, yeah, I was at Dante's house. And he was like, did you have sex with him? And she said, yeah, and he gives better head than you, honey. I'm a savage. Huh. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Huh. I know that's right, baby. But let me tell you something. When he would have said, where were you? I would have said, I was at Darnell's house. I was at your daddy's house. Let me tell you something. Sometimes I choose violence. But I'm just saying, honey, you want to say you did something to me, you better be prepared for what you get in return. But that was good, girl, by saying he give better head to him, but you didn't even wash your whatnot. So you just getting kissed. Oh, child, please go see the OBGYN after this scene. So in the next scene, so Emmett's trying to explain what's going on. He's like, I love you, Tiff. Come talk to me. Honey, no, that's not working. Okay, what you need to do is explain when and what it was. Because you just sitting here saying absolutely nothing and she's sleeping with everybody and their daddy. Child, that's not going to work. In the next scene, Douda and Tracey are in his office talking about him giving her organization $5 million. And when he was saying this to her, I was thinking, girl, that money ain't free. Let me tell you something. If somebody is willing to give you a handout, it's always something attached to it. I'm just saying that has been my experience. So Trig walks in and he's like, you ain't been watching the news? So they turn on the news and they're talking about him defunding the police, right? He's like, the older generation isn't happy with this decision. So Trig said, you know, we need to have a plan if we gonna do this for it to work. I like the direction that they're taking with his character. Not just him shooting and getting in all kind of altercations and killing people, but he's actually trying to think of ways to make the city better and protect the black community. I really appreciate that they're giving him some layers as a character. I'm like, okay. And I actually like what they're doing with his character. Okay, so anyway, so he's telling him, you know, we have to have a plan. We can't just be doing things all willy-nilly. So then Douda gonna say, Wakanda wasn't built in a day. Not Wakanda. Who wrote this? Writers, back to the writing board. Y'all, not Wakanda. So then Trig said, you mean Rome? He said, F Rome. No. Wakanda is a fictional place. Okay, it's not real. Joe, what are you saying? Talking about Wakanda wasn't built in a day. He said, you know Wakanda is fictional, right? So then he's like, get out of my office. So Tracey gets up and she's like, listen, maybe you can help me spend this bag. He's giving me $5 million and maybe you can help me spend it. Child, that's so unrealistic. I was like, okay, child, let's move forward. Emmett on the other side hollering and banging on the restroom door, honey, because he want to know what's going on. So I'm like, Tiff, talk to me. Child, let her bathe. Honey, she done been from bed to bed, from head to head. Get that bread, get that head, then leave. Honey, no, ma'am. Please let her wash her Hello Kitty, okay? Because she needs to get herself freshened up, okay? Her lady parts and her lady bits need to be washed. So he's beating all on the door or whatever. He's like, open up. She said, you ain't my daddy. He said, yeah, you actually know me. Oh, see, this is why you in trouble now, Emmitt. You cannot be saying that kind of stuff. She was like, I thought I knew you. Oh, child. Instead of him stating his case, he gonna ask her, he gonna have the audacity, the gumption, the unmitigated gall. Honey, it's the audacity for me to say, did he pull out? The last thing we need is for you to get pregnant and for us to wonder who the daddy is. So you drop a bomb on her in the middle of sex that you slept with Dom, who is now with your dad, and then you ask her if she had, you know, him pull out, assuming that she had unprotected sex with the customer. Yuck. Okay? It's a yuck monster. Child, goodbye. So she comes out, right? Because she cannot believe that he just had the audacity to say that. She's like, we both came a lot, so I don't know if he pulled out or not. Pow! It's a chopper. Child, she blew him away. Okay, I thought I chose violence, but I don't know now. They writing Tiff to choose, and they might need to get the community police on Tiff. Somebody called Tracey and them for Tiff, because she is showing out. Do you hear me? Child, Tiff ain't playing with him. She is messing with his mental. Poor Emmitt. Child, I'm just saying, I just really feel bad for Emmitt because I really feel like Emmitt was really trying to be on the straight and narrow, and he realized that was the ultimate mistake that he made by sleeping with Dom. So he wanted to fix it. Then he asked Tiff to marry him. Unbeknownst to her, honey, he was sticking his little peen all up in Dom as she was stirring the macaroni and whatnot. So I feel like now he just really wants to get back on the right path. And he was honest with her, but he should have told her that before they got married. And then he wouldn't be going through all these changes, okay? But I actually do think he is really trying to do the right thing. So we see Jada and Dre at the doctor's office in the next scene. So Dre is like, how about we try like a natural approach and like some changing her diet or something, or maybe some essential oils. And the doctor said, yeah, I deal with traditional medicine. Honey, I know you do, Big Pharma. Listen, I feel like holistic is the way to go. Her cancer is more aggressive, so they have to start chemo right away. But y'all know what I always wondered, and I don't know if this is a stupid question or not, but honey, I just like to speak my speech, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Have you ever noticed that before a person realizes that they're diagnosed with cancer and there's no, they're not feeling anything, they're not feeling ill, they look perfectly healthy, they seem perfectly fine, it just amazes me that after the diagnosis and after the chemo, that's when they literally deteriorate. And I've always wondered, like, how are you surviving not knowing? But then as soon as you know, and then they pump you full of these chemicals, then you deteriorate. So it makes me think that there's obviously something in the chemotherapy that is not designed to help our bodies. Not saying that chemo has not helped people heal. I don't want y'all to get it wrong. Chemo has helped people to be free of cancer. But oftentimes it may return, or, it's just a thought I had. And I was just wondering, like, what does chemo do to the body that causes it to basically speed up the death? It speeds up you dying. That's just my opinion. So I actually think that a holistic approach is good. And there are things that you can do and food that you can eat, and your diet can be changed in order for you to slow down the cancer and sometimes eliminate it. But that's just me, honey. That's just my opinion. Y'all can comment down in the comment section and tell me how you feel about it. So what I was thinking is, I wonder if Tiff is gonna give her some like medicinal marijuana so that she can get rid of the chemo, get rid of the cancer, because maybe that might help her. And she has to start chemo this week, but she doesn't want anyone to know. And you know what? As I was watching this scene, I was thinking, I forgot that she was Emmitt's mom. This season seems so disconnected. Like, the characters seem so disconnected in this season. So I actually forgot that she was even Emmitt's mama when I was watching the scene. So then in the next scene, Emmitt tells Dom, look, he's at the shop, opening up early, prepping the food and everything. She walks in. He's like, look, I told Tiff. She was like, why would you do that? He said, because she gonna be mad at me. And we had this, edibles tasting, and now things are gonna be weird. He said, really, she didn't even say anything about you. And he was like, she's more mad at me, honey, as she should be. Okay. So then he tells her that Tiff is sleeping with Dante. And she was like, she's sleeping with Dante? That's the person who helped me make the edibles. He was like, oh, so both of y'all screwing him now? She was like, nah, honey, that's my play cousin. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't like play cousin. I don't like play brother and sister. Nope, I don't play those games. Anyway, so Dom and Tiff are supposed to be getting together for an edible tasting, but I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. Outside, Papa is sitting at a table making black business owner signs, right? That Emmitt can use and put in his windows. So Emmitt said, listen, they already know this is a black-owned business. Papa said, I know that, but I just want to make sure that I still have a job after all this is said and done. So then Emmitt said, do I need to buy a gun? Papa said, no, you'll wind up shooting yourself by accident. And I'm too young to run this place by myself. I love Papa. They need to give Papa more scenes. I miss when Papa, Jake, and Kevin were always together walking down the street, honey, and my heart used to be beating fast because I didn't know if a drive-by was going to happen or what. But I miss seeing all three of them together. I feel like they should have kept Kevin and Jake at the same school with Papa. And where was my girl, Maisha, honey? I needed to see Kendra Lamar this episode. So Papa was like, you accident prone, honey. We know you all clumsy. And another thing I'm wondering, what happened to Sonny? They were supposed to be renting this spot for a limited time only, honey, and Sonny never returned. I wonder if he's okay, honey. And turn some lights on, like I said. So, in the next scene, Rosalind is trying to tell Douda that he can't just defund the police in a day. He said, why not? She said, because do you think you're the Black Trump? He said, if he can do it, why can't I? She said, because he's white. So then they run into Jemma's daddy, and he thinks it's a good idea, finally, because they can fix the issue of the police, and if everybody thinks they're heroes, then the Olympics will still come to the city. Why are you worried about this Olympics? I guess it's just more money being poured into the city. That's the only thing I can think of. So then Rosalind said, well, what about if, they start to riot or some maniac just comes into a black neighborhood and shoots it up? Douda said, the maniac is usually a police officer. Baby, you better speak your speech, honey. You better preach. Imani downstairs, okay, having shop talk in the next scene, and some guy brings in a young girl to get her hair done. And I was wondering, is she being sex trafficked and we not saying nothing about it and we're just handing her back to him, or is he a pimp? Either way, honey, this needs to be explained. So, Imani is looking at her and she's like, okay, I'll take care of it. At the school, we're back over here with Jake and Kevin. This white teacher is telling Jake and Kevin that he understands why they are acting out. He's like, after being oppressed for 400 years, plus what's going on, I definitely understand. He's like, listen, I'm one of the good ones. I want to protect you. Jake was like, do I look like I need protecting? He was like, no. Then he says, they were like, please just let us go. Or can we just sit here and read quietly? Like, we really don't want to talk to you. We really don't care what you're talking about. So then he says, okay, how about I set you guys free? I didn't like that line. It sounds too close to slavery. A white man standing up talking about how about I set you free. No, I don't like it. I didn't like that line at all. And then he said, but first, write me an essay about what happened to you. So Jake said, we got to work for our freedom? Sure, listen. He said, I don't trust no. He said, you don't trust me because I'm white, right? He said, I don't trust nobody. Then Jake said, can this be used against us in the court of law? Listen, Jake is asking all the burning questions. Do y'all hear me, honey? He is asking what the people want to know. He said, no, it's just you expressing yourself in writing how you're feeling. So Kevin immediately got to work. And Jake was like, I'm not doing nothing. Kevin was like, I'm not about to sit in here all day. So let me write this essay so I can get out of here. Imani is washing the girl's hair that the pimp brought in, right? I'm just going to assume he's a pimp. And Shaw gets back, and I guess he knows the dude, so they're chopping it up. And he is bringing Imani some supplies because, he's on a work release type thing. So he has to have a job. And Trig just set him up to work for Imani, so she gets some help, and he gets, a job on paper. So he's like, all right, here, am I done for the day? She's like, yeah, I guess. So he leaves to go get something to eat, and he takes the guy with him. Back over on the other scene, at school, Jemma and Kevin are not seeing eye to eye because she wants him to do an interview, and he's like, nah, I can't be bothered. Kevin acts like he doesn't like Jemma. Everything she says gets on his nerves. Every time she asks him a question, he has no answer. So, child, when she saw Jake come up, she was like, Jake, can you come on my show? Be careful, Jake, honey. I'm just saying, honey, she eyeing you for some reason because she was smiling bright when she saw you walking up. Back at the bar, remember I told you that Shaw went with the pimp to the bar, right? So they sitting there talking. He's like, you work for her? He's like, yeah, she cool or whatever. He was like, that ain't no she. And he was like, what are you talking about? So then he said, that's a transgendered female. He didn't say it in those nice of terms, but honey, I'm not going to get ignorant over here on this channel. He's like, what? So then Emmett walks in on Jada. So now he's like completely confused as to what this guy just told him about her being transgender. And the look in his eye, I was thinking, are they going to have him commit a hate crime against him? Or how is that storyline going to go? Is he going to go home and start calling Trig names and labeling him as something that he's not? I'm just trying to figure out where they're going to take that storyline. In the next scene, we see Emmett's mama. She over there pouring some shots, right? We see Jada. She's pouring a few shots. So Emmett walks in unannounced. And she got to put her clothes on because she's completely naked because her and Suave been in the back room getting massaged and whatnot, right? So he walks out because Emmett's coming over because he needs some advice about Tiff. He walks out completely naked. Emmitt goes off the handle talking about, he's only 2 years older than me, Mom. You choosing him over me? So Jada is trying to talk to him because I guess she's about to break the news, right? But Emmitt is not listening to her. He's yelling, hollering. He don't want to hear what she got to say, and he walks out. Child, Emmitt is going through it. His wife is playing get back. It's dark all over the Chi, honey. His mama got cancer. He has nobody to turn to, nobody to talk to. Darnell walking around with his Bluetooth, sleeping with the woman that he was sleeping with. And, child, it's just a mess. On the next scene, we see Tracey and Trig go to Papa's daddy's church. Well, I don't know if that was the church or just the rec center. It was something. But they went over there to meet Papa's daddy, right? And he's like giving this speech to the people and, telling the people that they need to call them instead of the police. So lady said, black people are killing each other, but get mad when the cops do it? Listen, it's not the same. They are killing us because they pulled us over at a stoplight. They are killing us simply just walking up to the car and saying license and registration. You reach, you're dead. So when she said that, Trig said, listen, nobody's perfect. We all have our stuff. He said every race has their own civil war within their race. I was like, okay, you better go ahead and speak your speech, child. He said the police want us to kill each other, but we need to come together and show them that we don't need them. So then they brought these forms for everybody to fill out with their skills because they want to gather the village. So basically what they're doing right here is, that whole saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I think they're saying, look, it takes a village to keep the black community going. If we all rally together and do things for ourselves, then we won't need the police, and then we won't have to be in fear of other people killing us. Okay, that's what I'm gathering from it. So then at that moment, Tracey gets a call, and I guess they go to save the day. So they end up at these people's houses, and they show up to a domestic dispute. So she's yelling about OnlyFans, honey. OnlyFans out here ruining lives yet again. Keisha and Emmitt, are at the restaurant, and they're talking about what happened and what's going on with Emmitt, right? So Tiff brings the baby by, and he's a big boy now, honey. I was wondering where he was. I'm glad they made him show up, okay? So Emmitt tells Keisha Tiff is sleeping with Dante, right? And he was like, she's sleeping with Dante. My mama's sleeping with the masseuse. She was like, oh, okay, so it's just the fact that you're not getting laid. He was like, no, that's not the case. I mean, I'm just trying to live my life right now. She was like, well, you can't sin your whole life and expect to get into heaven. Well, that's not actually true, okay? Because as long as you repent to God for your sins before your untimely demise, honey, he will open you with open arms into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so I don't know who wrote that, but they got that part wrong. Okay, but I know what you was trying to say. So she said, so what's going on with Tiff? Like, is she yelling? What is she doing? He said, she not saying nothing. She said, oh, then you should be scared, because when a black woman says nothing, that's not a good sign. Baby, true tea. Silence is deadly. That means we thinking of some stuff that we're about to do, and we're about to execute it. Keisha is sitting there looking at Emmett's son, right? Because he went to go get her a pop. We call it soda over here, but he went to go get her a pop, and she's sitting there, she's looking at his son. I really think she's going to keep this baby. I really do. I really think she's going to keep this baby. So Tracey is in there giving words of wisdom to the young lady at the domestic dispute where they showed up. Trig's downstairs doing the same thing with the guy. So he's like, listen, I'm just a man just like you are. I feel like you need to just leave for a little while, calm yourself down, and then maybe come back together later. I understand because me and my girl are going through it right now. So the dude was like, you don't even know me. He was like, I do know you. I'm a black man just like you are. And he was like, listen, the thing is, I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to do something in the community. Okay? I'm like, oh, okay. So then Trig gets home. He's all bruised up. And Amani is helping him clean his stuff up, right? So she tells him about one of Nuck's girls and how they came to get their hair washed. And, she needs some help. And so then he was like, that's not my problem. She chose that life. And then she said, oh, okay. So sex workers aren't worthy of your help. He said, I'm off duty. See, I knew this was going to happen. See, we can't choose when we're off duty and all this, honey. If y'all going to protect the black community, that's a 24-hour job. You can't just get home and clock out. It don't work like that. It's not a 9 to 5. It's a 24/7. Okay, that's what you need to understand. So he said, I can't do nothing. He don't work for me. She said, nobody works for you. Baby, Imani is like, child, goodbye. At the school, Jemma is pressing up on Jake before the interview, right? Telling me, you smell nice and you look nice. Jemma, honey, stay focused. Putting her hand out on his knee. I'm like, oh, honey, this is not going to end right. And y'all know what we saw in the beginning of the very first episode. So we already know what's about to happen. So she's interviewing Jake about the police officer, and he tells her, they see all of us as a threat. And I really want to do something with my life. I don't want to end up dead. So I don't like the way they stereotype and look at us. On the other side, Douda, Rosalind, and Jemma's daddy are discussing, and Tracey walks in. So Rosalind asks how they plan to patrol an entire city with a couple hundred people. And so then Tracey was like, we don't plan on patrolling the entire city, just the black neighborhoods. She said, oh, so they're the only ones that need protecting? Rosalind, have a seat. Candy, sit down, child. Every man wants a woman. Honey, sit down, child, and go ahead with that. She was like, in my eyes, yes. So Rosalind tells her, okay, you can leave now. Douda was like, can you stay? Oh, child. So she gives her opinion about the Olympics coming there or whatever. She was like, don't nobody care about the Olympics. Black people are dying. We just want to see our kids grow up. So here goes Jemma daddy talking about, listen, we're going to provide plenty of jobs. She said, you just want to be on the front page of the newspaper. He said, so do you, honey. Oh, now they fighting. Over on the other side, Darnell and Dom are setting up for the edibles tasting, right, on the party. Darnell sampling all these edibles. And so then Dom was like, you do know there's weed in those, right? He was like, that's okay. I like to eat weed. I've been eating weed since you was watching Sesame Street. Not you been eating weed. Boy, okay. So he over there trying to help us set up, and right then Tiff walks in, right? So Dom already know what time it is because he knows that, Emmett broke the news to her. So Tiff gets there and Dom asked if they were good. She was like, yeah, I'm good, honey. I'm not mad because being mad just makes me tired. I'm like, you know what? That's actually the statement of the year. Being mad makes me tired. I know that's right. She said, I'm not mad at you. Just don't do it again. She said, oh, I have my hands full with his daddy. Girl, what is this? Another unrealistic scene. Child, I'm not finna sit here and talk to you about sleeping with my husband and then just because you sleeping with his daddy, now we all good? No, ma'am. Honey, I want details, actuals and factuals. Why did you sleep with my husband? When did it take place? This just shows Tiff don't care nothing about Emmett, honey. Emmett, go on, get back over there and play house with Keisha after she had his baby child. So at the party, the guys are telling Tiff, I feel like y'all should just have an open marriage because that's the way to go. Because if it wasn't for an open marriage, we wouldn't even be together right now, or an open relationship. So she's just sitting there taking it all in. Child, She was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'm listening. So she listens to it. But my thing is, I don't want no open relationship. If that's the case, then we can just stay, we can just stay as dating. I'm dating people, you're dating people. Honey, y'all gonna bring some diseases back y'all can't get rid of. Open marriage, honey, that's just not for me. Now, it may be for some of you. Honey, don't get me wrong. Comment down in the comment section below if you feel like an open marriage is the way to go when your man can't keep it in his pants. But quite frankly, I feel like Emmett is ready to do that, but I just don't know. Now, some people argue that a monogamous relationship is unrealistic because nobody should be confined to one person for the rest of their lives. People gonna do what people do. But as for me, honey, it better be me and me only, okay? At the center, they're complaining about having to protect each other all the time because we're back over here with Tracey and Trig. So Douda comes in and is like, look, as long as y'all keep these things moving, we gonna be okay. I promise I'm gonna take care of the city. Tracey and Douda are getting close, child. Do you hear me? Honey, they are getting close. Jada leaves the party because the party starts, okay? But Jada leaves the party, honey, because her head is in the clouds. She got way too high. Emmett feeling alone. Darnell tweaking. Child, it's just a mess. So then we get over to the very last, almost the last scene of the episode. We see Kevin and he's trying to text Jemma, right? She's not responding, but she's leaving him on red. So he looking at the phone, seeing that she read the message, but she's not responding. And I guess when she saw him with Jake, she realized, okay, Jake is fight the power. And I'm over here acting like race doesn't exist, honey. And I'm just trying to do me. And he know Jemma is about that life. So he's like, oh my gosh, let me try to make sure my girl ain't leaving. But honey, it ain't working because she is not caring nothing about these text messages, okay? While she's doing that, we see Keisha in the other room. She's crying. We see Dre. She's calling Jada, telling her everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. I'm like, oh my goodness. So we got Kevin texting Jemma to no answer. Keisha crying and agonizing over her decision. Nina setting the table for a family dinner with a family that don't even want to be there. And then Dre is trying to keep her best friend's secret. Oh my goodness. So she calls everybody to the table, but they're having their own like internal battles. So then on the other side, we see Tiff and she's cleaning up, right? So she walks up to Emmett. She said, look, we should have an open marriage. He said, no, I'm done with all that. I only have eyes for you. She said, yeah, for now until something else catches your attention. He was like, no. She was like, well, what if another man catches my attention? So he just sitting there looking. She was like, look, we've been together since high school. Maybe we're bored. Maybe we should just see how it works. Like, what do you think? He was like, I think I'm confused. Are you going to be screwing other people too? Or she was like, I mean, I don't know. I haven't figured everything out. So he was like, it's cool. It's whatever you want to do. Oh, Emmett is so defeated. Do you hear me? He is so defeated. A man can't take what Tiff is dishing out. You know, it's different when they come talking about they want a sister wife. But for what you want a brother husband, honey, that's a whole nother ball game. And Emmitt's sitting here looking like, I know I'm losing her. I just know I am. Now, honey, I don't know if Tiff's contract is coming to an end over at the Shaw or not. But the way it's looking, honey, she might not make it to next season, honey. And no, ma'am, Pam, I'm not sharing my man. Especially if they looking like Emmitt, honey. Y'all know I got a little soft spot for him. Child, if he was just a little bit taller, it would be on. Do y'all hear me? So Tracey and Douda are having a nightcap. And then it was on, honey. Baby, he lifted her up against that window, honey, making love to her up against that skyline. And child, here come Candy, aka Rosalind, walking in talking about, oh, my invitation must have gotten lost. So they're getting into it as they get into it, but then they stopped. So then she walks over. She said, oh, no need to stop now. I like to watch. And I'm thinking the screen is about to fade to black, right? Oh, no, ma'am, honey. Tracey said, well, your wish is my command. Baby, Tracey kept the party going, honey, and they sexting. And Candy sitting over there looking like she at the dungeon. Honey, let me find out art is imitating life. Let me find out you be watching Todd doing what he got to do when he doing it, allegedly. And that was the end of episode 3. Child, I wish they turned some lights on. I liked this episode. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with Kevin and Jemma. And what's going to happen with Jake and Jemma. And what's going to happen with Trig, Imani, and Shad. Honey, I don't know if Shad going to come home and start trying to set it off or what's going to happen because he's feeling uncomfortable. But we're going to get into it as we get into it. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.